Hello, Age fans! Since Age of Empires Definitive Edition was just announced, I wanted to share with you all a mod that I've been working on. So Age of Empires is a great game, but to play it online, you need a CD, compatibility mode, direct play, a third-party client, an official patch, port forwarding, an unofficial patch, run as administrator, and finally you can go. Needless to say, the multiplayer situation is a little bit of a mess, despite the vibrant online community. That's still out there, they're still active. Shout out to everyone on Age of Empires Heaven. So, Age of Empires II HD doesn't have any of these issues, has a lot of bug fixes and new tweaks, and I really wish Age of Empires could be this way. So without further ado,
Chopper.
it's Age of Empires in Age of Empires II HD. The idea was, anyone who owns Age of Empires 2 or buys a copy of Age of Empires II HD Edition could simply download the mod, install the mod, and play Age of Empires. No strings attached. Play it single player, play it multiplayer, invite your friends who are on Steam to join you. Anyone else with the mod would be able to join your game and play with you, no issues. Now you'll notice there's a lot of weird things going on. Most of these glitches are caused by the fact that I copied over all the graphics from Age of Empires 1, but I didn't quite finish copying over all the units. So, if you see cars flying around, those are birds. Here we are on another map.
Hey, Willem. Chopper. Holmes. Chopper. Correct.
The biggest issue I encountered was when I tried copying over all the units. Age of Empires II HD would tell me, "Unit not recognized by DLC system," and immediately kick me out of the game. Which I totally understand, because they don't want people acquiring the DLCs for free if they don't own them on Steam, but it made things quite problematic for this mod. But it can be overcome. I had to replace the units from Age of Empires 2 one by one. And since that took a long time, I decided to start with the Stone Age. And that is why you're seeing all this Stone Age stuff. I got started on the Tool Age, didn't quite finish the Tool Age. There's no archery range or archers yet. But if I had continued, I would have finished the Tool Age, moved on to the Bronze and Iron Age. You can see that research is work. And pretty much all the functionality that these units have is working correctly. The dock is in there, and I've got all 4 boats that you can access in the Tool Age. It's funny how there's an option to advance to the Castle Age or the Bronze Age. Which one do you want to advance to? Choose today, but don't choose the Bronze Age, because I have no idea what will happen. So the sounds and the music are all really easy to port over. The graphics came over with no issue, although it took me quite a while to find the right color palette, because Age of Empires 1 has a different one than Age of Empires 2. That's why the Age of Empires 2 units are all purple. Let me know in the comments or on the forum if you have any questions about this, because I do not plan to continue this, and I also don't plan to put it up for download anywhere because it's not really finished, nowhere near finished in fact. But I don't plan on finishing it, now that Age of Empires Definitive Edition is coming out. Honestly, it does a lot more than this, so I would say if you're interested in this, just get Age of Empires Definitive Edition. I only worked for about 2 or 3 weeks on this mod, and it's nowhere near complete, but I really wanted to show it off somewhere since I put in more than 20 hours. One last thing that I wanted to point out is that the scenario editor does fully work with all the Age of Empires 1 units, and it even sorts them into the categories buildings, units, heroes, and other, just like it does in Age of Empires 2. I'll fast forward as I make a scenario here. So, you may notice if you look closely that whenever I scroll the screen, the terrain actually moves at a different rate than the units do. This footage is actually from a slightly different version of my mod than all the rest of the footage in this video. I started messing with the terrain some, and I actually made it so that the units are scaled correctly, and the tile size for the units is as it was in Age of Empires 1. Now Age of Empires 2 actually has a bigger tile size, and the terrain is still on that bigger tile size, so when you scroll the screen, it scrolls at a different rate than the units do. It's really bizarre, and the game functions exactly the same. Had I gone on, it would have taken a lot of experimentation to fix this problem, but it could be done by properly adjusting the tile size of the terrain, and then I would have to start importing terrains from Age of Empires 1. Have a good night and enjoy Age of Empires Definitive Edition.
Yes, No. Start the game already.
We will not tolerate this
Oh
behavior.
yeah. Dadgum.